Line. Line. Line.
All right, and we are live. What's up, guys? Welcome to the pod. Let me go ahead and I got some of these sources here messed up. Welcome, guys. Welcome. We are live right now. So, welcome. I'm happy to be here. Welcome to the stream. Give me ones if the audio is good, guys. Give me ones. We got a lot to cover today, boyos. Holy. Right, we are live. What's up, guys? Welcome. All right, hold on. To close some of my pod, windows I got here open accidentally. Sources here messed up. Welcome. All right, cool. I just setting up, getting everything ready. Welcome, guys. Good. Are you guys ready for the most based fucking take on this goddamn election? Are y'all ready? Cause I'll tell y'all this, man. It's very interesting because I'm kind of looking at both sides right now. I got a couple tabs open and I'm looking at the different political commentators, which we're gonna go ahead and look at some of these guys' different takes. But it's really interesting, guys, because as you guys know, and let me kind of talk about how I even got into this space, right? So as you guys know, and it's just me solo, by the way, so you guys get to get my iron all night. Pause. So as you guys know, this podcast started as a dating podcast, the Fresh and Fit podcast, right? And, we'd bring girls on, we do discussions, do debates, etc. But I've always been pretty fascinated and interested on what's going on in the world, right? Not just from an American political perspective, but also what's going on in the world from a more international perspective as well. Because what goes on internationally does affect us, guys, in a 2024 globalized world. And my thing is, I was like, look, if we're gonna help guys with making money, getting girls, being more attractive, being competent, etc., knowing what's going on around you is important. Being an informed individual, understanding how political systems work, understanding history, understanding how the world works is actually very important for you as a man, especially if you want to get ahead and make some money, invest. Because, guys, what's going on in the news does affect how I move with how I invest money, right? As I see the dollar slowly start to become less and less important, it's slowly not becoming the reserve currency or whatever it may be. I'm like, all right, inflation is here. I need to invest in real estate. Real estate is pretty much like one of the only asset classes that actually benefits from inflation, right? Because when you get the loan, right, to buy the house, or when you buy the house, let's say you buy the house for $100K, as time passes, the house appreciates, and that $100K that you put in, right, doesn't go as far. So I basically park that money into an asset that appreciates, so my money grows over time with that asset versus letting that money sit in a bank account and having it decrease in value. So that's just one example of what I mean when I say it's very important, guys, to be aware of what's going on. So that's kind of a quick little situation of how I even got into this this realm. Also, you know, I think it's just higher IQ stuff, right? Like sitting there talking to bimbos all the time. That's great. We still do it. Don't worry. Don't worry. But I do think that covering stuff like this is a little bit more important at times, especially with with an election year, guys. So what we're gonna do is, guys. So as you guys know, we are covering the election live, okay? And we are gonna go ahead and go, bounce around and stuff like that. We'll probably be jumping on people's streams, and stuff like that. I think the best way to move with this election coverage is have my home base here, stream, and then react to other stuff, move around a bit. If people call me in on Zoom, I can jump in on their stream, etc. We're gonna be on Twitter. We're gonna listening to Twitter Spaces. We're gonna be everywhere, guys. We're gonna be everywhere. Home base is gonna be here, but we are gonna be going everywhere. All right. So I'm happy that you guys are here with me. You guys are gonna get the most base takes from me because important thing, I'm not a fucking paid grifter on whether the conservative or Democrat side. I'm not a guy that has links in certain situations where I can't give you guys the real deal of what's going on because I might lose my job or whatever. I'm not an established political commentator where I only talk about politics and I'm always going to lean a certain way regardless. Like, you guys are getting an unbiased, neutral perspective here on a lot of things. As you guys know, I tend to lean right on a lot of issues, but I'm not doing that because I'm a right-wing political commentator. Does that make sense, guys? So my views are my views because of a multitude of other reasons, not because I'm a political commentator, if that makes sense to you guys. So there's topics that I lean very right on, very far right on, and then there's some topics that I'm even more central and neutral on that aren't typical conservative talking points, right? As you guys know, with abortion, I tend to be a bit more in the center with that one. That's probably the only issue really that I'll be more center, a little bit going towards the left. But everything else is pretty right wing. But I don't align with a lot of the typical, conservative commentators, right? And then you guys know how you guys already know how I am about Israel. I'm probably one of the biggest, probably the only big YouTuber on the right that is critical of Israel. Because I'm trying to think everybody else, Daily Wire, Crowder, Benny Johnson, all these guys are, pro-Israel. I'm like the only one that's not. So yeah, definitely you guys are going to get a different perspective on things. But anyway, so I know I have a lot of international viewers or people that aren't necessarily politically inclined. So the first thing I'm going to kick off with, guys, is how the election works, okay? I was going to go and give you guys a boring thing of 270, blah, how the electoral starts and all that other shit, but I got this video here to summarize it for you guys, and we'll kind of go through it. And that way, then we can jump right into the other stuff. But I do think it's important to kind of show you guys how this stuff works, because we have an interesting voting system in the United States. So
to end up in the White House, you don't actually need to be the most popular candidate in America. All you really need is 270 votes. American presidential elections aren't decided by the national popular vote. They're decided by a thing called the Electoral College, a slightly convoluted system that dates back more than 2 centuries.
The Electoral College.
And a big reason for this, what they won't tell you, as always, I'm going to give you guys a little. A big reason for this, guys, is because of slavery. A big reason for this is because of slavery. Because remember, guys, slavery was very popular in our inception. So a lot of these states in the South had a lot of slaves. So that's how they kind of came with this 3/5 thing. And that's why the Electoral College was something that was a bit more convenient back then, right? Also, they didn't have the same level of technology where they can account for voters as accurately as we do today.
Is a vestige.
In the founding era, the states were really everything. People really identified closely with their state governments. So that when the Constitution was written, it doesn't even define, who is an American citizen or who can vote. That was really left to the states.
The college itself is made up of 538 members.
Also, guys, get your chats in. I'm going to be interacting a lot with you guys in the chats. So get your super chats in, etc. We're going to be going for a long time. So it's going to be lit.
They're divided up according to the number of people each state has in Congress. More populous states like California get the most votes, while smaller states like Wyoming get only a handful.
So this is very important, guys, because if you guys notice, right, the candidates have been really focusing on going to certain states. You know, I'm sure some of you guys that, you know, might not necessarily be politically inclined. Why is Trump always in Michigan? Why is Trump always in Pennsylvania? Why is he always in the Midwest, in the Midwest? Why is he in Arizona all the time? These are states, guys, that are crucial states where they can go either way. The Battleground states is what they call them. There are about 7 states. So, and each state has a certain number of votes that come into play. So, basically, if you win 51% of that state, you win that state. Does that make sense, guys? So you win by state, not necessarily by popular vote.
The candidate who earns...
That's why they're not campaigning in fucking Wyoming and shit. You know what I mean? They might go there once during the campaign trail. But the reason why is because the population there isn't high enough to justify the constant travel there to get the votes. And then a lot of these states, a lot of times, they'll almost always swing one way, right? Like some states historically have always been red. Some states have historically always been blue.
270 votes from them wins the presidency. And despite the fact that Donald Trump and Kamala Harris's names are on the ballot paper, when Americans vote, they aren't actually directly.
I voted this morning, by the way. After we finish watching this and you guys understand how it goes, I'm going to tell you guys why I voted it and who I voted for.
Voting for one of them. They're voting for these electors who go and represent their state's view in the Electoral College.
It's maybe one of the most aggressive federal systems in history in that, you know, every state has its own way of conducting elections. They can do their own thing when it comes to, you know, deciding how to choose electors to the Electoral College.
Those electors cast their votes in December, and the results are then certified by Congress on January 6th. In 2020, this is what it looked like.
And that is why, because the votes need to be validated on January 6th. That's why that insurrection happened, because Trump wanted Pence to basically not certify the election, right? So that's how we ended up with what went down on January 6th. So now this just start making sense for you guys. You know, pay attention to certain dates, etc. What's going on?
Nearly everywhere, the electors cast their votes on behalf of their state for the winner in their state. 2 states, Maine and Nebraska, do it differently, splitting their Electoral College votes between the state result and the result in each congressional district. 4 years ago, Donald Trump won 232 votes. Joe Biden won 306.
And this is where things get extremely controversial, because most people think that the last election was stolen, right? Which I do think as well. And I have a whole fucking thread here, which we can go over if you guys want me to, right? That me and a girl on Twitter that I get along with, we kind of compiled it together. We did this project where we came up with all of the things that led to the 2020 election being stolen, right? And it used to be banned. Like, just so y'all know, if you talked about the election being rigged in 2020, you would get banned for that shit. Let's not fucking forget. Let's go back in time a little bit, right? Like, bro. And just thinking about this pisses me off, because this is something that people don't like, people just forget about, right? So when the election, after January 6th, right, a bunch of creators got either in trouble or banned for being at January 6th, right, got in trouble. And on top of that, right, some of them faced criminal cases, some of them obviously got indicted later on, some of them got their platforms taken from them, etc. Labeled insurrectionists, all this bullshit. So most people didn't accept the last election and thought it was rigged. And if you talked about this on YouTube, because I remember a bunch of political commentators getting in trouble for this. If you talked about this, it was almost like an instant strike if you said that the election was rigged. As a matter of fact, everyone forgets this. But Trump did an interview with the Nelk Boys, right? It was the first, ninjas in the chat, you guys know what I'm talking about. He did an interview with the Nelk Boys like a year or two ago, right? And this is like before he really started like saying he's going to campaign and come back. And that interview, during that podcast, he mentioned how the election was stolen, and they took the video down, guys. They literally took the video down. YouTube took it down for election misinformation. So if you could take down a podcast that got millions of views in a few hours from a former sitting fucking president getting censored, what do you think is going to happen to the rest of us? He got kicked off Twitter. He got kicked off Facebook. Like, people forget this shit. That Trump literally got banned everywhere after January 6th, right? And I find it amazing, right? Guess what's happening now? Look, I'm going to show you guys my Twitter real quick. Oh, we cooking tonight, boyos. We cooking tonight. So, I called this shit out because I saw this and it pissed me off. Because I gotta, look, you guys know my memory sucks with girls, but when it comes to like political shit and history, I remember, right? So look at this shit. So, these snaky motherfuckers. So, Google CEO warns staff, stay neutral no matter who wins, right? Sundar Pichai sent an urgent company-wide email Monday telling employees Google must remain a trusted source of information regardless of election outcome. The warning comes after Trump claimed Pichai personally called to discuss his search popularity and threatened to prosecute Google for alleged election interference, right? Major tech companies are pulling back from the 2020 strict content moderation. YouTube allows election fraud claims while Meta reduces political content visibility. Silicon Valley appears focused on avoiding conflicts with Trump supporters after previous accusations of bias. Bro, right? I got a long memory. You know who else has been endorsing Trump recently? Fucking snake. Mark fucking Zuckerberg. Or as I like to call him, Mark Zuckerberg. Bro, he's also coming up now saying he's a proponent of free speech and he likes Trump, etc. I didn't forget. I didn't fucking forget. 4 years ago, all you fucking platforms were censoring and banning Trump left and right. Anyone that was linked to January 6th was getting fucking prosecuted. They were getting their YouTube channels taken down. I remember this shit. And it's interesting to me how these people think that they could just kind of come crawling back to Trump now. Right? When they fucking did everything in their power to shut him down. And I called it out. So I tweet, right? I go one by one. Big tech moguls like Zuckerberg and Pichai are starting to get in line for the very real possibility that the guy they tried to destroy via censorship and deplatforming after January 6th might become president again. And nobody else is bringing attention to this. I've been watching these tech moguls one by one trying to get back in Trump's good graces because they know there's an extremely high likelihood he's going to be president this time around. It might be too big to fucking rig. And that's going to be the theme all night. Too big to rig. Now they're fucking crawling back. But I vividly remember they did everything to suppress him because most people didn't even know that Trump told the protesters to protest peacefully because he got knocked off of Twitter and all these other platforms. So people are coming in now and, kissing a ring. But it wasn't like that 4 years ago. It was not like that at all. And if you even talked about the election, you would get being rigged. It was an instant fucking censorship. But now you can talk about it. Because people know the math ain't mathin'. The math ain't fucking mathin'. But anyway, sorry going on that random tangent there, but I needed you guys to really jog some of y'all memory about what they fucking did before.
Process after Election Day is supposed to be an entirely administrative and uncontroversial affair. But, of course, that's not what happened last time.
If you count the illegal votes, they can try to steal the election from us.
The President-elect of the United States of America, Joe Biden.
Pence is going to have to come through for us, and if he doesn't...
Because Pence is the one that's supposed to certify the election, his former vice president, who's also a snake and turned on him as well. Who I call him Snake Pence. Snake Pence. And just so y'all know also, because I'm going to jog some more memories here, Pence, I guarantee you guys, is probably the chief witness in the federal investigation into Trump that Jack Smith is leading from the Department of Justice out of Washington, D.C. for the insurrection. Guys, keep in mind, quick little recap here. Trump has been indicted in 4 separate criminal investigations, okay? First, you got the New York one with Judge Merchan, the document case, the falsifying business document case, right? Then you got the state of Georgia, RICO case with Giuliani and a bunch of his lawyers, right? When he made that infamous phone call to tell him you need to recount the votes in Georgia. Those are the 2 state cases. Then you have the federal case out of Washington, D.C. for this situation with the insurrection. Basically, they try to say that Trump defrauded the government, blah, blah, blah. That Jack Smith is pushing that one hard. Then you got the sensitive documents case, the classified documents case out of the Southern District of Florida. So the D.C. and the Florida case are federal. The New York and the Georgia case are state. So 2 state investigations, 2 federal investigations. All right? The Florida case has pretty much been dropped. One of the district judges down here said this, whatever, this bullshit dropped, which is a good thing, by the way, because I've told you guys before, as one of the only people on YouTube that's actually done a fucking case as a federal agent that deals with classified documents, I told you guys, that was the most scary case that was against them because that was the case I think the government actually had the strongest case, interestingly enough. Because those documents are NDI, right? National Defense Information. So whether they're classified or not, it's irrelevant. NDI always needs to be stored in a certain way. DOD basically stuff, Department of Defense stuff, right? So on that one, they had that actually was the strongest case the government had against Trump. And when that got dismissed, because it got dismissed on a technicality that basically Jack Smith didn't have the legal authority to bring that case against Trump. That's how it got dismissed. It didn't get dismissed on evidentiary merit, right? It's actually, so guys, this is very important, right? And I haven't seen anybody else talk about this. The case against Trump with the documents didn't get dismissed because of evidentiary merit. The evidence was actually very strong and solid. They had him on recording saying that he showed this woman NDI information, right? Bragging about having documents. They found the documents when they did the search warrant at his house in Mar-a-Lago. The documents weren't secured. Some of them were classified, some of them weren't, but it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, whether he declassified them in his head, as he was saying, or he declassified them because he's the President of the United States, it's NDI, so therefore it's got to be controlled in a certain way regardless, right? So the district judge threw the case out because Jack Smith, the special prosecutor that they brought in, there was some technicality or some legal issues with him coming in as special counsel to prosecute the case. So it basically got dismissed. So what's left is this right here, this January 6th insurrection case federally. And Jack Smith, I think, did a superseding indictment, if I'm not mistaken, not too long ago, and he's still pursuing this case federally. So this is probably the strongest case against Trump that's left. The Georgia one, I think, is bullshit. Young Thug basically beat it. For those that are unaware, Young Thug is a rapper in the United States that got indicted on or about May 9th, 2022 for RICO charges, YSL, right? Why do I mention that? I mention that because Trump got damn near identical charges to what Young Thug got because Trump also got RICO charges from the state, to be clear. State RICO charges, which are significantly weaker than the federal RICO charges. And he ended up getting only 15 years probation because the state did a sloppy job of prosecuting because Fannie Willis is a fucking moron. Right? Man, I'm cooking tonight. I've been on stream for what? 29 minutes and I've been fucking giving y'all sauce that most of these other people don't even know. So that Georgia case, he still has it, though I don't think it's that strong. I think he's probably going to end up beating that one. But regardless, it's still another criminal case over his head. And then Giuliani is on that indictment as well. So there's 3 criminal cases still pending against him at this point.
That will be a sad day for our country.
Donald Trump's supporters took advantage of the convoluted process as part of a broader move to sow doubt in 2020's election results. Since then, Congress changed the law to make it clear that the vice president's role is actually ceremonial. They've also increased the number of politicians it would take to object to a state's result. The modern-day Electoral College hasn't worked the way the Founding Fathers envisaged, in part because the rules were set down before even the existence of political parties in America. The idea of a popular vote deciding the presidency, they were expressly trying to avoid that. It was one of the last things they decided when writing the Constitution. One of the signatories of the Declaration of Independence, James Wilson, said, "It is in truth the most difficult of all on which we've had to decide." The debate lasted for months, and what they ended up with was the favourite method of no one. They decided a group of electors, nominated by their state governments, would pick the president instead. Ultimately, the Founding Fathers just didn't believe that most Americans would know the faintest thing about the men running for president.
Nobody really thought this was the best idea, to be honest with you. There was, discussion of, well, it's not the greatest thing, but we can amend the Constitution, and we can change it. Let's give it a try.
The process was changed in most states by 1832, giving ordinary Americans the power to choose their president.
And how we elect our next president comes down to key races in key states.
But I wanted to try and dig into the state numbers to get an understanding of how close this race is. Holy cow.
Most of the time, the winner of the popular vote and the Electoral College have been one and the same. But there have been 5 times that the candidate who won the most votes nationally didn't win the presidency.
So this is important to know, because people forget that Hillary Clinton actually won the popular vote, guys, over Trump. But Trump won the big states.
Including 2 quite recently. The Electoral College worked to Republicans' benefit in 2000 and 2016, but that doesn't mean it couldn't work the other way in future. For decades, a majority of Americans have wanted the Electoral College, or at least its influence on the system, scrapped entirely. In a Pew survey this year, 63% of US adults said the rules should be changed to guarantee the winner of the popular vote becomes the president. Abolishing the Electoral College is easier said than done. It would require constitutional change, and frankly, that seems unlikely.
You've got this friction of a political system that's designed to represent states, and then a political culture that is about Americans being American.
But some states have their hopes on a workaround, because states can allocate their electors whoever they want. And if enough states got together and agreed to give all their votes to the winner of the national popular vote, well, that'd be enough to achieve their goal. That's what the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact is trying to do. 17 states and the District of Columbia are committed, and they've agreed to enact the compact once it gets to 270.
It guarantees the presidency to the candidate who wins the most popular votes in all 50 states.
Unless more Republican-held states get on board, it's unlikely to happen. So for now, whether you like it or not, the Electoral College is the system that Americans have for choosing their president.
All right, so we got here, Kevin Terrell says it's going to be a long night, lots of streams to watch, but I'll tune in here ever so often because mainstream sucks. Also, Destiny should zoom you in. Good luck in a stream. Yeah, I mean, if he wants to zoom you in, he's got a bunch of wokies, I think, on his panel. Let's see here. We got a chat from Kronz. 1+ says, Fresh, I've gained a lot of space. Oh, no, that was from earlier. Okay. So, guys, fnfsuperchat.com if you guys want to get some chats in, because I'm going to be paying a lot of attention to the chat. But we got some things on Castle Club. So, Final Chewer says, will you be going to the emergency meeting today? Shit. Is Tate live? I'll send him a quick message. Is he live right now? Let me look. He probably is, actually. Everybody's live right now. Let me look. So, yeah, he is. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so he is. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and see. Let's jump in. Let's see what Tim Cass and them are talking about. Or actually, wait. First, we'll look at this camp. Get real time, and then go back. We're gonna be bouncing around, guys.
Positive development for Trump in that county, and that's something he needs to replicate in a lot of other counties. We also got a big batch here. This is Oconee County. This is right outside of Athens, where the University of Georgia is. This is one of the wealthiest counties in Georgia. It's heavily white, high concentration of college degrees, yet actually still a very Republican county. And again, you're looking at all of the early vote here, and again, the kind of place Trump doesn't want to be slipping anymore from 2020. So again, he wants that number above 66. So that's only 2 counties, but that's what we're looking for as the Trump counties start to come in. Let me just take a look. I think we might have, and again, resetting statewide there. Those are the numbers.
So some of the states already are done, guys. You can see here, there's a couple here. I think Kentucky, Indiana, and is that West Virginia there? I can't see, my eyes suck.
Statewide in Georgia right now. Again, for the Democrats, so much is going to have to do with that Atlanta metro area. Starting to get vote in here in North Carolina. Again, keep in mind, you see a lot of counties, the colors here. You only see about 27,000 votes statewide in. Also going to come in very incrementally here. You know, look where Raleigh is, Wake County. This is one of the biggest Democratic vote-producing counties in the state. You got Durham County right next door to it. Something big just came in. We'll take a look here in a minute. Orange County. But I just give you a sense of North Carolina. A couple things. We expect what's going to be reported out here in the earliest part of the night is the vote by mail. Again, this is going to be very familiar in a lot of places. The vote by mail and the early in-person vote. And that's the majority of all the vote in North Carolina is going to be those 2 methods. Again, we expect that to be a little bit more Democratic friendly.
All right, so we got Bamir goes, think how many they got. I'm a Canadian citizen. I just flew to California to vote for real Donald Trump. No idea or proof of residency would require Trump 2024. That's fucking crazy, bro. You got to be trolling. Untamed Doctor says, was told by a friend that her grandfather's friend voted in Florida and then went today to vote in PA with no idea. That's fucking... They ID'd me. So I went out to vote earlier, guys. Obviously, as y'all ninjas know, I voted for Trump. But they ID'd me, right? And I'll talk about that a little bit more. But let's see here. In PA, we were never blue. Philly is the corruption in the state. Trump 2024. I believe that. State's number of representatives is based off its population, right? Is that the same number as electoral votes? Yeah, it's basically based off of state representatives. Yes, representatives are typically so there's 2 senators per state, but in the House, that's based off of. We could go ahead and do a whole thing on this. That's based on population. Oh, my bad.
2 blue was going to draw a drive-down turnout. We didn't really see that in the early vote. We want to see if that matches up with the same-day vote, but that's another place Democrats are depending on there for their votes. They're also going to depend on it here, Cumberland County, where Fayetteville is, so core Democratic areas. And we're also tonight going to be looking sort of in the eastern part of North Carolina. This could be key. These are a lot of rural counties and smaller counties that have substantial black populations. And these are counties, a lot of these Barack Obama either won in 2008 when he became the last Democrat to carry North Carolina, or he came close to winning. And since then, the numbers have come way down for Democrats. They think they can get the turnout up here this year. We're going to be paying attention to those counties as they come in. But again, statewide right now in North Carolina, very early. That's what you see with just over 100,000 votes. And we'll just check back in on Georgia, and we are still about where we left off there.
All right. So, hold on one sec, chat. Fixing something right now. Okay. All right. So that's the latest updates. It looked like Trump won a couple of states, but these are smaller states, guys. We still got our work cut out for us, obviously. All right, so I voted earlier today, guys, right? I went out to go vote. Fresh did too. Shout out to Fresh. And I went in there. I didn't sleep. I just fucking stayed up. Walked down the street, voted. Very easy, very simple. So here's the thing. So I voted for Trump, as you guys know. And the reason for that is because though there are some things that I dislike, right, with what Trump is doing. Okay, hold on, let me really get this, get a couple of these things. situated here. Bear with me, guys. Again, fnfsuperchat.com, guys, if you guys want to go ahead and get involved in the show, because I'm going to be interacting with you guys all night. Pause. Get your Rumble rants in, Castle Club chats, etc. I'm going to be watching the chat like a hawk. I'm just putting up fixing some of this stuff, man. Dude, shout out to Bills, man. Bills really be doing this shit behind the scenes. And I'm like over here like, oh my God, what am I doing? All right. So, okay. So I voted for Trump, and I'm going to go ahead and pull up my tweet here on it so you guys kind of get a better idea, right, about this. And I'll kind of just expand on it, right? So I got my tweet here. All right. So it goes, I just went out and voted for Trump despite his softened stance on immigration and pro-Israel stances. As you guys know, those are my two biggest gripes with him, right? Also, Iran, right? Potentially going to war with Iran. Though I do feel better about that because he did say he doesn't want regime change when he went on PBD. So I left that one out. But number one, as someone that worked immigration for years at HIJ, I'm sensitive to the fact that immigration is a political hot potato. It's the one issue where you will never be able to garner overwhelming support due to its polarizing nature. Trump needs to get in and handle the border crisis from the White House, not the campaign trail, right? Then number two, every politician is a Zionist. It's about picking the one that can best reel in Netanyahu's current bloodbath in the Middle East. Trump would be far better at putting limits on Israel than the Biden-Harris administration. We just saw them fail with controlling Israeli aggression the past year as they try to drag us into a war with Iran. So, as you guys know, my buddy Nick withheld his vote this year, which I understand why, right? He just doesn't like what the Trump administration is doing. They lost a lot of their former viewpoints, right? They've gone soft on some key issues. And then obviously there's the prospect of supporting Israel to the point where they might drag us into a war. But in my situation, I looked at it like, look, though he's not the same Trump of 2016, I still think having Kamala in is far worse. And as you guys know, when I vote a lot on foreign affairs. That is one of my biggest, it was my main voting issue with this election. Because let's just really take the red pill here, okay? I know a lot of people are voting for, and we'll go through this systematically. A lot of people are voting most Americans are voting because of immigration or inflation. I would argue that most are probably voting for inflation purposes, right? Things are too goddamn expensive. Fair enough. And that's happened under the Biden and Kamala administration. But here's a real red pill, guys. There's no such thing as deflation. Things are going to continue to get more expensive. There's no going backwards. The price that you see milk at right now pretty much means it's going to either stay at that price or extremely likely it's going to go up in price. So what you need to focus on is making more money. And this is the conversation most people don't want to tell you. The Democrats are never going to tell you this. But the reality is you simply need to make more money. Because we ain't going back. We're not fucking going back. All right? We're not. We're not going back. And I'm one of the few people that will tell you guys this shit. Well, we need to get inflation down, blah, blah, blah. Cool. But it's not going back. We could potentially slow it down, get it under a little bit more control, but it's not going to go back. So the only thing you can do is you need to make more money every single year because the price of goods is not going to go down. If anything, it's only going to go up. The president can potentially be involved in how quickly it goes up, but it's going to continue to go up. There ain't going back. No fucking going back, guys. There's no going back. So that's 100% on you. No matter who's in office, milk, bread, food, gas, it's always going to go up. The only thing the president does is he might slow it down a little bit. But the reality is it's going to go up. And if it's already up, thanks to the Biden and Harris administration, it ain't going back. That's the first red pill that you guys need to understand. If you're voting for inflation, hey, man, it ain't going to get that much better. It's only going to get worse. That's number one, right? Number two, foreign affairs, right? Or let's do immigration first. So like I said here in point one, immigration, right, is a very touchy subject and it's a political hot potato. No one really wants to deal with it because it's if you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. If you enforce immigration, you're a homebreaker. You don't have it pulls at the heartstrings. You're evil. Blah blah blah. But if you enforce it, but if you don't, then the conservatives get pissed off and say we don't got a border. Or this is bullshit. Blah blah blah. Get these illegals out of here. So it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. It's a very sensitive political topic that a lot of people try to stay away from. Right? This is why I know some of you guys got mad about hearing this, but Trump said, "Oh yeah, we need to staple green cards to people's college degrees." Right? That's, I think, an oversimplification, because I think the only way that's even substantiated is if they need to bring enormous value to the United States. That's a whole other topic, right? I'm for immigration only if it benefits the United States, right? Which in most cases it fucking doesn't, if I'm going to be all the way honest with you guys. In most situations it actually doesn't. Hot take there. So I know that Trump has got to kind of put up a certain thing where he's hard on the border, but at the same time, he's not like that hard, right? So people still feel like they got a chance to come here. So I get it, right? And when you work immigration to the level that I have, because there ain't nobody on YouTube or Rumble, for that matter, that knows more about immigration than I do. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. There is no established creator on the fucking internet that knows more about immigration than I do. Nobody. I've actually been there deporting people. I've actually taken an illegal alien, took his ass to the fucking Mexican border, and dropped him off. I've done it with my own two fucking hands. And I don't think I've actually ever shared that. I mentioned this subtly yesterday, but yes, guys, I have deported people my fucking self. I did it. So when it comes to the situation at the border, I can tell you with irrefutable, with unequivocal fucking confidence, right, that Donald Trump is irrefutably a better candidate for immigration than Kamala. How do I know this? Because I worked under the Trump administration, and I also worked under the Obama administration. And when they were catching illegal aliens on the border, when I was in fucking Laredo, Texas, everybody was getting an expedited removal back. All those guys were getting banned in 2 weeks. Sent back in 2 weeks. Now, illegal aliens are getting something called Notice to Appears, RORs, Release on Recognizance, which I did a whole explanation on this, by the way, guys, here. Right? Did it here. No. Where is it? Okay, boom. And I did this whole thing here. And I covered it, whatever. I'll drop the tweet for you guys in here if you guys want to read it, where I go over this shit in detail. Put it in all the chats for you ninjas. Save it for later. It's a long read, but I go into detail about the immigration process under the Trump administration versus Harris. Fucking crazy detail. No one else can give you guys this shit. If you guys are interested in that, how the border really fucking works. And this was prompted by Destiny going on Jubilee and saying that Kamala is better for immigration than Trump. That's fucking false. And I'd be happy to debate him on this topic if he wants. We could do it live tonight if he wants. Go in his chat and tell him. You know? So, but yeah. So now that we covered inflation and immigration, right? Why I voted on the Trump side. Now let's talk about foreign affairs. So this is actually, like I said before, my most important voting topic. And the reason why is because inflation, we just talked about it. You can take care of that yourself, right? Immigration, I already know Trump's going to take care of that. But the thing that really is important when it comes to the president is foreign affairs, guys. Because hold on. Let's see here. The thing that's important, guys, is that, sorry, I think my FedReacts chat fucked up. All right, I'll figure this out. All right. Sorry, I got distracted there. So with foreign affairs, guys, the president dictates foreign affairs. So if we get into World War III, which we're very close to, by the way, right now, extremely close to, and I could go through it if you guys want about how we're so close. You need someone in there that's gonna de-escalate what the fuck is going on right now. Because if we get nuked, all these other things don't fucking matter. To be honest with y'all, it doesn't fucking matter. Let's go back to this. Okay. Let's see here what they're talking about on Temple shit. Ah, shit, look at that. Yeah, of course. Let's see what this Zio got to say.
She doesn't win.
We were enjoying the fact that Jill Stein it seemed that Jill Stein had stymied Kamala Harris taking. Okay.
If you voted for Jill Stein, you're an idiot. Waste of a vote.
While it was lasted, but apparently
they still have it up, and I think they just changed it. They just deleted the data from Lawrence County because Jill Stein did not actually win. Shout outs to who do we have? Matthew Funnel in Super Chat who says those Stein votes are actually Trump's check AP.
Wow. So
yeah, unfortunate, but I'll still give a shout out to Jill Stein. Jill Stein said she will stop Kamala Harris from winning. She wrote an op. I think she wrote an op. Is this what we have from Newsweek? How and why I will stop Kamala Harris from winning. And Kamala Harris cannot win the election because she has lost the crucial support of Muslims and Arabs, Jill Stein has said. So I've been seeing this for a while, that Jill Stein was saying outright, or to some degree, that she was going to be a spoiler candidate for the Democrats. I'll take it. I ain't complaining about it. Although I wish we lived in a reality where she won Lawrence County. Trump actually won Lawrence County.
I don't know. I don't like communists, so.
You know, like supporting, I don't know about supporting Hamas, like the verbiage, I support Hamas is like, indicates you're supporting an organization that's like desperately attacking another
terrorist.
Yeah, but the idea that you could uplift everyone by creating stability and peace, I feel like that would be a way to support all of them, including those that used to be. Maybe we could de-radicalize.
If Hamas wanted stability and peace, they could have turned over the hostages instead of holding them for an entire year. They could have turned them over and had a ceasefire and could have ended all and turned themselves in and could have ended all of this at any time that they wanted, but they didn't because they're terrorists.
I don't know if you see Michael
yeah, I think that's a thing that people struggle with. It's a unique Western situation to think that people who are raised since they're born, raised with Nazi flags, and people who attacked us on 9/11, they idolize these people. I think it's hard for us as Americans to understand that you really can't change that mindset. It's not like a Democrat becoming a Republican. It's a truly different ideology.
I would think of it as like a long game, like of a 20 or 30 or 40 years in the future, because like it takes generations to create radicalism and it also to de-radicalize a lot of times. So if you could establish legitimate, like organized peace and like
I would love nothing more. I would love for the people in Gaza to live prosperous lives, to thrive again. I think that would be amazing. It's just difficult that Israel kind of set that up for them in 2005 when they willingly gave over the Gaza Strip, and 2 years later the people in Gaza elected Hamas as their leader. So it's just difficult, I think, when you're trying time and time again to have peace and let these people achieve their own freedoms, but time and time again they're choosing terrorism.
Do you think that Donald Trump, and I guess I ask you not to represent the entire Jewish
Guys, it's time to cook in a little bit. Let's let her yap a little bit. We go cook.
in the region?
Absolutely. Everything that he did in Israel. I was actually living in Israel at the time when he, for American side, recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. That was a huge strategic decision. Also moving the embassy to Jerusalem. He has done so many things to just help with the sovereignty of Israel and peace in the region. The Abraham Accords were the greatest peace deals in the history of the Middle East. And I think his idea of peace through prosperity, peace through economic strength, meeting with the UAE and having really good deals for everybody so they become richer and it becomes a better region. I think that's the best plan for the Middle East, and I think that's everything that Donald Trump represents there.
So we got there's big data coming out of
all right, this dude that said this about, oh, you just gotta fucking release the hostages, cap, bro. Guys, according to Haaretz, Israeli newspaper, Hamas tried to negotiate giving the hostages back a couple of days after October 7th, and Netanyahu refused.
Nope.
He said no, because they said, look, we'll give you back the hostages. Don't invade the Gaza Strip. They did anyway, and they bombed it into oblivion, and they wanted to give the hostages back literally days after. It was never about getting the hostages, guys. It was never about getting the hostages. It was about waging a war against all their adversaries and having an excuse to do it. So that's a fucking lie, right? And this is the problem. See, look, this is the issue. most right-wing political commentators have no fucking clue what's going on in the Middle East. Zero fucking clue. Because they get their fucking Middle Eastern news from Israeli media. Israeli-controlled fucking media. That's the reality. They have zero clue what's really going on in the Middle East from a how do I say this? A more realistic and rational perspective, right? So even Israeli media admits that Netanyahu had a deal to get the hostages back a few days after October 7th, and he refused. That's number one. Number two, pulling out of Gaza in 2005 like she's talking about. So let me get this straight. Let's go into a scenario, chat, so you guys understand this better. So let's say someone comes to your house, right? You let them in, and then you leave, and you come back, and they set up shop. They're in your house, they move their shit in, blah, 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 unbeknownst to you, right? And then they tell you, hey, you can't live in the house anymore. You got to be in the garage, but we're going to be in the garage there with you, right? Now, you're relegated to the garage of your own house, and they tell you that we're going to also be here. You fight them, and then they eventually leave the garage and give it to you. Wouldn't you still be pissed off that you used to have the whole house, but you're now relegated to the fucking garage and you can't leave? You don't have an airport, you can't leave at all, you're stuck there? And on top of that, they control all your food and electricity and supplies coming in. So you used to own your house, but now you got sent to the garage, you can't leave the garage, and they're the ones that bring you food when they feel like it, and electricity, water, and power. Yeah, I thought so. You'd be fucking pissed too, wouldn't you? So they didn't give anything because it wasn't theirs to give in the first place. They're illegally occupying their land.
I grew up as a skateboarder. I mean, you know, I'm pretty against cops and authority and things like that, but
if you say this, you get censored. That's the truth. And this is what most Americans are fucking oblivious to, like that guy before saying that, these guys are terrorists, whatever. Look, I'm not going to argue with you guys that Hamas is a terrorist organization. But if we're going to call Hamas a terrorist organization, the IDF is a fucking terrorist organization too. Let's talk about it. The IDF, right, its predecessors were paramilitary organizations that were designated by the United States as terrorist organizations. Haganah, Irgun, Stern Gang, Leahy, all these fucking paramilitary groups that slaughtered Palestinians before the creation of Israel. Israel is created through terrorism. That's a fact. That's not even my opinion. That's an absolute fact that you can even look on Wikipedia. And one of the prime ministers that created these paramilitary organizations, Menachem Begin, right, who actually created the Likud party that Netanyahu serves under to this fucking day, terrorist organization. And Menachem was a terrorist. He wasn't allowed in England for many years because he was a terrorist. He was behind the David bombing, the David Hotel bombing that killed like 100 people. He was one of the people that masterminded that. But the history books won't tell you all this, will they? These people have no fucking clue about the history of Israel, the history of their creation, their inception, etc. Zero clue. If you're going to call Hamas a terrorist organization, fine. But the IDF is a terrorist organization as well. And even the United States acknowledges it. It's just that the IDF went ahead and rebranded. Before they were Irgun, Haganah, and Leahy and Stern Gang, all this shit. Illegally exporting weapons to Israel from the United States.
Endorse Kamala Harris. And the reaction from the left was as if he had come out and said that he was endorsing Trump. So anytime that you don't side with them, you're against them. It is an all or nothing perspective where you're either.
And this is where me and a lot of these right-wing political commentators, like, we disagree. Because I know the history of Israel. I'm not shilling for Israel like every other political commentator on the right. I'm not doing it. Because you can't sit there and call Hezbollah and Hamas terrorist organizations, etc., but then not also condemn the IDF for the very same shit. I'm not disputing the fact that they're terrorist organizations. What I am saying is that the IDF is a terrorist organization as well. They just did a better job of fucking rebranding.
To a far leftist, the far leftist is also far right. Yeah. There's no inverse, but we got some big updates. Ladies and gentlemen, Poly Market has broke 70% for Donald Trump. And Decision Desk currently has Donald Trump's chance of winning at 69.8. Lord help me if by like 9 o'clock it's shifting in the other direction and Kamala Harris is at 99% and everyone's crying.
More like 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
I bet $100.
Exactly.
They just became legal in New York to bet for the first time, so this is my first time ever betting on anything. Hopefully I win.
Well,
this is massive. Oh, we've got another person jumping in.
Guys.
Who's this?
I didn't know I was coming in. Hi, I'm Lisa Elizabeth on Twitter, and I book for the culture war and all kinds.
Chat. Actually, I'm going to be on Timcast next week, guys. I'm going to be on there next Tuesday. Guys, where are they filming this shit? Chat. Where are they filming this?
When?
Let me tell you, from doing on the ground reporting there, I am surprised. It is definitely way more 50-50 than it seems. You know, Pennsylvania, there's been a lot of irregularities with stuff going on there. Everybody knows that the GOP in Philadelphia and the DNC are corrupt. So I don't know. I worry about that kind of stuff. But I'm telling you, I've living in Philadelphia for so long, I've never seen as many Trump flags, Trump signs. Even when I was in West Philly, a total Democrat stronghold, there were Kamala signs with spray painted T's in red over top of it.
Yeah, nobody likes Kamala. We got here a chat from MJR Scumbag says, do you not think we need immigrants? They're overwhelmingly the only ones willing to do the lower tier labor intensive jobs. Farm labor, for example, it sure as hell won't be modern 304s or real estate tycoon. Look, though that's true, that a lot of Americans don't want to do these jobs, we also don't even give them the opportunity because most employers want to hire illegal aliens because they can pay them less and not necessarily give them benefits. So they don't even get the chance a lot of the times. And we export so many jobs as well.
Right now, we're not looking at that. We're looking at a guy that people.
All right, let's see what Hassan Abi yapping about. As you guys know, me and him are very opposed on almost every political issue except for Israel-Palestine.
Rhode Island, Connecticut, and of course Pennsylvania as well. Let's show you what we can right now in Pennsylvania. No surprise here. It is too early to call. North Carolina, same story. They do count fast there, but not fast enough to call it. It's still too early to call. Just 5% of the vote in. And in Georgia, we're seeing a lot more.
Chat, who do you guys want me to react to, by the way? I'll pull their streams up. Who do you guys want me to react to? Because I could cook all day on this stuff.
Which is a potential bellwether, something that might give us some indication about how this night might go.
Yeah, and it's a state that we can look at to see how the suburbs are going to perform across the country. I know a lot of you guys know the D.C. area very well. 30% of the vote is going to come from these northern suburbs. It's a good barometer to know also how Harris is doing with suburban women. So let's go to 2020 to compare here. So Prince William County, it looks like Harris is slightly down with 75% of the vote in. This one stood out to me. 95% of the vote is in Loudoun County right now. Biden was at 61%. Harris is now.
All right, I see a couple PBD podcasts, a couple Destiny. Let me go ahead and pull up all these ones.
Come on, Chad.
The vote is left. Only about 3,600 votes remain.
It's like 1% of the votes counted.
She's underperforming a little bit there. As we keep going here, Fairfax County, 45%.
8% of expected votes. Shut up.
There. 69, about the same. Something else that's interesting that's happening in Virginia Beach. This is a swing county. Trump won it in 2016. Biden was able to flip it. Tonight, Trump is on top, but only about 20% of the vote is in. A lot of the western part of the state, as we know, is going to be more rural. Some of that coal mining country, it's going to resemble West Virginia. We have some of the vote in a county like over here, Wise County. This is a good Trump barometer. He's at 78%. He was at 80% in 2020, but 41% of the vote is out. He's underperforming slightly. I guess the thing that sticks out to me, which it's too early to know if it's a red flag, but
all right, let's go here. Let's see what Destiny and them yapping about.
Just talk about it every
Rick Scott wins his. There's a key race alert.
You don't understand. If Trump wins,
there's a key.
Yo, guys, is this Destiny? Is this studio in Florida, guys? Is this in Florida?
Key race alerts.
You can he won it.
Hold on. We need 12 seconds for the thing to load.
Oh, he can do the key alerts too?
No, I did.
It's a good meme. It's kitty cats, by the way.
Okay. Show me
in Ohio.
Show me the last election cycle for Florida.
But it's early, you know.
Oh, we're cooking in Florida. Yo, Florida's red,
You know
baby.
what? I think Tony was right.
Tony Soprano?
Tony that said that Puerto Rico is a floating island of trash. Do they need to call these right now? Hello? He was right. I'm sorry.
States which leaning highly Republican.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see about that.
Called for Trump.
The Rock says she's got the play to Cliff Rock.
Do they need to call these right now?
She looks good for her age, I'll tell you that much.
I promised myself I wouldn't get emotional, but you know what?
Bruh.
You know what? We should be emotional. We should be.
Bro, all the fucking celebs endorse Kamala. All of them. All the top celebs. From our generation to the new generation. Fucking, it's incredible. Fat Joe, Jennifer Lopez, Eminem, everybody from the early 2000s era, all the top people endorsed her. Then you go into fucking classic rock in the fucking 80s where Bon Jovi, Bruce Springsteen, they endorsed her. Then you go ahead and you go to current celebs like Quavo, Cardi B, Meg Thee Stallion, Beyonce, Taylor Swift, literally every single A-list celeb, LeBron fucking James, right? Almost all of them endorse Kamala. And you know, the interesting thing is nobody big endorsed Trump that's like an A-list celeb. Everyone that endorsed Trump is like either a big YouTuber or like a washed up artist, like a Kid Rock or, you know, Hulk Hogan or some shit like that. Which I like these guys, but bro, it's not 1885. You know what I mean? So the thing with the Kamala campaign is they were able to get way more relevant and bigger people to endorse her. So that's kind of where we're at.
That she's being genuine, or do you think she's just reading a teleprompter? Vinny, what do you think? What do you think people are reacting when J-Lo talks to what she does?
By the way, am I the only one that just sees somebody that had? Is it just me, or that once Diddy's list and everything came out, everybody that was talking with Diddy, you know what that sounded like to me?
When will we know?
I know Diddy has, when God knows what, and I was involved with a lot. Please, please, vote for Kamala, because they'll probably protect me when shit hits the fan. That's what it is, bro. And yeah, you guys ready for a fact? You guys ready for this? Donald Trump was endorsed by RFK, Tulsi Gabbard, Elon Musk, Joe Rogan, Tucker, Dr. Phil, Buzz Aldrin, everybody. And guess what Kamala got? The Diddy list. Period. That's the Diddy list. Usher, remember Usher? Usher was like, you know, Usher was on The View and he was like, I don't get into the politics thing. He probably got a phone.
Chat, I'm on the phone with your boy Sneeko. So yeah, no, I'm keeping up. I'm going back and forth, showing different streams and stuff like that, talking about shit, and then also going back and looking at Polymarket, looking at the states and shit like that. So.
Bitcoin's going up right now. Bitcoin's at 70.
Yep. Well, if Trump gets in, Bitcoin's going to keep going up, for sure.
It's going to soar. I mean, yeah, you saw up to 2016. So it's a major win. It's a major win if Trump wins for all of us. What do you think of the key states right now looking forward? I'm looking at the results that literally just came in.
Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Arizona, I would say, are huge. It looks like he won Florida, or he's winning Florida significantly.
Major W.
Yeah.
Went to Biden in 2020, right?
No. Chat, who won? Did Biden win Florida, guys, in 2020? Somebody let me know. Let me know, chat.
Miami he did, at least. Miami he did, but.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he won Miami. Miami is kind of like it's a little blue compared to other places in Florida. But
what are your predictions for? What are the major ones left? So Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Texas.
Yeah, Texas too.
Right now. Can you believe that?
Yeah, Nevada's going to be huge too. Nevada, they're saying that they're going to probably have to. It might take a week to count it. Is what they're saying.
But he still could win without Nevada. It doesn't need to be.
Yeah, of course.
But might come in tonight.
Yeah, but he would have to win.
I think midnight will know.
Yeah, he'll have to win all those other battleground states for Nevada not to matter like that. So, but yeah, if you could lock in Michigan and Pennsylvania and Arizona, it should be a W. So.
But yeah, Kamala's also leading in Pennsylvania. So, but it's not over.
Yeah, well, the Amish came out to vote. That's how you know shit is for real. I saw a bunch of Amish come out and vote.
The Amish are how did they get to how do they know when the day is?
Bro, I don't know. But them niggas somehow showed up to vote in Pennsylvania, so that's how I knew it. Bro, I haven't voted myself since 2008. Everyone and their mom is coming out to vote in this election. So I think people know.
Since 2008?
Dude, I haven't voted since 2008, yeah.
Why did you vote for Trump for the last two elections?
I was registered to vote in Connecticut. And I was in the border and shit. So
yeah, you're right. You're new to Florida.
Yeah, I'm new to Florida, so I wasn't registered in Florida, and you know, that's why.
Wait, did you vote for Fresh in 2008?
No, I voted Obama in 08, bro, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
18 years old, fucking stupid.
Hey, I have a clean record. My only other vote was Trump in 2016.
There you go.
2020.
Yeah, but that's because you're a young boy, bro. You remember, I lived through the Iraq War and I saw the bullshit, so I was like, bro, fuck this. That was a big reason why I voted for Obama was because the war. Because, bro, remember, back then, bro, the United States was run by neocons. Like, early 2000s, it was straight fucking neocons. So I was like, fuck that. We're no more wars. That's a big reason why I voted for Obama.
Look, he still has a lot of neocons around him. People like Ben Shapiro, J.D. Vance, I would say Ted Cruz, these people.
But Kamala has more. Kamala has more. All the Republicans that, and this is another thing too that no one's talking about. All the people that are backing Kamala are the same people that led the Iraqi war. The same fucking neocons, the Cheneys, etc., from that era. So those are the people that are backing her. Like, obviously Trump has some fucking warmongers too, you know, but I would say Kamala Harris has more, for sure.
What time do you think everything's going to be settled?
If it keeps going like this, we'll know hopefully by after midnight. If it keeps going like this.
It might be a late night. It might be a late night tonight.
Yeah, it might be a late night, but we'll see what happens.
Jake Shields seems like he wants to hop on a call. We should text him. Maybe we could do a little panel.
Yeah, we can, bro. We can. Let's do it. Fucking, I'm on stream right now.
On too?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I told Suleiman that I'd be down to stream with him. I didn't see him on, so. But yeah, let's fucking do it. Let's do a all-star panel. Set up a Discord call or something. We all do it.
Okay, let's. Jake Shields just texted. I said, let's get it now. We're both live. Suleiman hasn't responded to the group chat, but.
Yeah, let's maybe make a Discord call or some shit like that. Is probably the best bet.
Okay, I'll call you back when they both text. Okay, I don't know if Jake knows how to use Discord.
All right, just let me know, bro.
All right, bye.
All right. Okay.
States in gambling markets. Keep voting, pour on more steam, and sprint through the finish line. Damn, when the gambling odds are that strong, that's interesting.
Holy moly.
Good. Awesome.
Good.
Yes. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Tom.
Just working. Mic
So,
check.
this-
Oh, we're back. We're back.
Okay, good.
Is this working?
Tom, question for you. A lot of people, how many of you, when you're talking to your friends and family,
They turn it off.
a lot of the people that are your, folks you work with, or maybe they want to support Trump, they're like, look, I'm convinced there's going to be cheating. I'm convinced this is going to be stolen. How many of you have friends that believe that? Raise your hand if you believe. Okay. How effective is it when you hear these stats that Laura Trump and others have hired 5,000 lawyers to make sure everyone is being held accountable? Do you think their administration's done a good job preparing lawyers to protect anything that could happen that's illegal?
Yeah, Tom, take mine. No, I think that's good and prudent, right? When the Chinese start lining up ships and Air Force bases right near Taiwan, you take them serious. What we have seen is something we need to take serious, and I think getting those lawyers ready to challenge things, we have to be ready. It's almost like to have a fair election, you have to show that you are going to act swiftly and strongly to make sure it's fair. It's almost like, in defense, that the best defense of a country is to show strength and willingness to take the step. And I think having the lawyers ready tells the other side, we're watching, we want fair elections, and we're going to protect it.
We talked about it earlier today. Ronna McDaniel getting out and Laura Trump.
That's another thing. So this is another thing also, guys, that's important to know. If Kamala wins, I think it will embolden China to invade Taiwan. Hot take. Let me know if you guys agree with that in chat. Give me ones if you guys agree.
videos of people complaining and people saying they're closing the lines, we can't leave. People bringing camera phones and showing I'm hitting Trump and it's hitting Kamala's name on these voting machines. So I think one of the biggest moves was getting Laura Trump in there because she means business and she's not playing games, and that's what I like.
You know, a story that nobody's talking about, something that's really interesting is I think what's going to happen is if you look at how the mainstream media is behaving, they are very, very worried. The money starts.
Yeah, you guys agree? Yeah, facts. We're going to be cooked.
Let me give you a stat. Washington Post over the past 4 years has lost half its readership. They lost $70 million last year.
Mainstream media is dying.
The Washington Post. He bought it for his daughter. That's why he's saying, hey guys, nobody is reading your articles because nobody trusts you. And the New York Times, you know why the New York Times, the great New York Times, you know why they make money? They're crossword puzzles. Nobody is reading their stories either. Maybe a couple pockets on the coasts. And so now what you're going to see...
Yeah, fuck the New York Times. I got something to say about this, actually.
Papers. If this media wants to stay in business, they got to start telling the truth. So to me, that's the silver lining, and nobody's talking about that story. But money starts talking, man, and the more you lie, the more the rest of us go, I'm not reading that. I don't read the New York Times. I used to read it cover to cover. I haven't read it in 10 years because I don't trust it. I don't believe it because they're lying. And so what you are going to see, like with the Washington Post, is people like Jeff Bezos going, hey, you guys, you suck, get with it, write the truth, or we're going to die. And that's what's happening.
And this is what I'm talking about when I say that, you know, fuck the New York Times, by the way, guys. So they write this fucking hit piece, and I did a whole space about this. Election falsehoods take off on YouTube as it looks the other way. So this guy, Nico Grant, went ahead and messaged a bunch of the big conservative creators, right? Your Shapiros, your Tim Pools, and all this other shit, right? Saying that right-wing YouTubers have been pushing out conspiracy propaganda about the election being stolen, right? And this was done, guys, by who? Media fucking Matters. So Media Matters does an analysis on like a bunch of YouTube videos from right-wing creators, and what they basically found, according to their study, was that right-wing media on YouTube would push out these conspiracy theories, and then they went ahead and took it a step further and asked them, hey, are you guys monetized? And this is what the fucking Media Matters does. They write a hit piece, right, saying that XYZ is pushing out whatever narrative that they don't like, because Media Matters is a left-wing watchdog organization that works to censor and stifle speech from conservative creators under the guise of hate speech, racism, in this case, disinformation, whatever it may be, right? Anti-Semitism. They use some type of fucking ism to rationalize their hit piece against the creator, and then on top of that, they lobby with the platforms to get that person taken off. They'll say some shit, oh, XYZ creator is on YouTube making money on this type of content, and then this will hit the news, YouTube will feel the pressure, and then what does YouTube do? They demonetize or deplatform the fucking guy. And this is why, guys, this is why people don't respect mainstream media anymore. This is why people get censored. This is why everyone hates the ADL. This is why everyone hates Media Matters. Elon Musk right now has a lawsuit with Media Matters because of this bullshit. Because this is what they do, right? Media Matters is responsible for getting us demonetized. So fuck Media Matters. Seriously, fuck Media Matters. And the fact that they went ahead and reached out to these creators, because it was the New York Times and Media Matters working together. Media Matters did the study, and then New York Times did the story. They're working in tandem to try to get these guys demonetized too. All these conservative creators, Tucker Carlson, Ben Shapiro, etc., under the guise that they're pushing right-wing conspiracy theories. And this right here, my friends, is why no one respects the mainstream media anymore. This is why people are overwhelmingly choosing alternative fucking media to mainstream media. You look at PVD right now, he has more live viewers than fucking CNN. There's a reason for that. Because of bullshit reporting like this by this dickhead Nico Grant.
That sick ballot is cured and it goes in the stack to be counted.
So is this bad news for them when something like this happened in Maricopa County that said we probably need 10 to 12 days to count everything?
I think Maricopa had those lawsuits with Kerry Lake last time, and so they're doing the right thing and being transparent, saying we have a problem.
But that's great to see that. When you're seeing that, all we want if you ask the average person what they're looking for, the average person just wants a fair election. If we have a fair election, there's not a lot to be worried about.
Just tell me, please.
Were you going to say something?
Can I see an image of that guy one more time, please? I don't know who he is. I don't know what he represents. It was hard to hear, but I'm questioning his decision-making ability. Just shave it off, bro.
That hair, his hair looks like I caught on fire.
I don't know if you're left. I don't know if you're right. I know that what I do know, Brian Callen, is the one thing I hear of Maricopa
He looks
County.
like
I got better hair than that guy does.
Friends from Britain.
All right, let's see what else.
That guy's hairline.
What else going on? Let's see what this.
Do this on his own. He's going to be taking input.
So can we take one example? Let's take Attorney General. You think he's gonna, if he wins, is he gonna nominate some Trumpy guy or some institutional corporate guy?
So it depends on who can get confirmed. I think Attorney General is a unique case because he wants to basically be able to do whatever he wants. He's still got to worry about the confirmation thing. So something like Mike Lee would make sense, even though Mike Lee is sort of crazy now.
I don't know who this guy is.
Because he would probably
nigga yapping.
Won Florida by, let's say, 1 million votes, because that's indicative tonight. If you can feel some momentum there. Florida was a swing state for a reason. Florida does have a pretty diverse makeup. Florida has obviously a lot of Hispanic voters. Florida has a lot of older people as well as younger. Florida has military people.
Yeah, it's interesting that they don't call Florida a swing state anymore. Like me growing up, it was always considered a swing state. Now I guess it's always red.
Swing states. I believe Barack Obama won Florida both times, at least one. Teamsters. When you look at the actual percentage of the members of the union who were overwhelmingly supporting Donald Trump, what happens is you have union leadership just sit it out because they are not looking to do the will of their actual members, right? It's really about those in charge. As far as Wisconsin, I think that Wisconsin is more inherently conservative than Michigan outside of Milwaukee and Madison. I'm interested to hear why Evita is less confident. I'm not super confident in either of those states, but I do think that Wisconsin is more likely than Michigan. But I'd be curious to hear Evita's thoughts and if she thinks that Michigan is more likely.
Holy shit. Bongino got 400,000.
1 second.
Michigan is more likely.
Sorry, I'm sorry. We didn't get your microphone there. I'm sorry, Evita.
Now we got
Could you go one more time?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
No, so what I'm saying, what I meant is that I think Milwaukee is a little more prone to cheating. That's what I'm saying. I think it's a little insecure. They're having to recount already in Milwaukee. There were a lot of discrepancies in 2020. I'm not worried about the people of Wisconsin. I love the people of Wisconsin. I'm worried about the process.
You know what? It's funny that you said that.
I think you kind of echo the same. So you just said the same thing.
About Michigan. About Michigan. Right? Yeah, about Michigan. And so I hear where you're coming. But in Michigan, they just made it too big for people to understand there was a cheat. Like, for example, I didn't live in Michigan for a very long time in the last election. But I received a ballot to my old address, and it just said that it was processing. And I had no way to confirm whether it was actually filled out.
Guys, I think Bongino has the most live viewers right now for the election. He has 416,000. W Rumble, bro. Let's fucking go. Matter of fact, let's watch the Crowder stream from Rumble. Fuck YouTube. Guys, I'm telling y'all, man, Rumble is the new fucking thing, man. Everyone is tired of the fucking censorship, bro. Oh, he has 443. So, okay, so then it looks like Crowder is just edging him out. Just edging him out.
All over the place now. Our Supreme Court said it's okay. So does Michigan allow that too?
I don't know what the recent rulings have been, but I do know that they have allowed them in the past. Again, these things are kind of fluid right now with them going up and down in the courts. But, you know, Michigan is that state where you had that famous graph, right? And you had the red wagons come in with votes, and you had people board up the precincts with Bristol boards. So if it's as bad in Wisconsin, they weren't as flagrant. Like, they didn't even try and hide it in Michigan. So maybe they just do a better job of hiding it in Wisconsin. But I think it's the same thing. What you're saying, the people and the representation, there's a pretty big divide, and you're probably more in tune with Wisconsin, but same thing with Michigan. I know so many people who would vote for Donald Trump. It's definitely close, but you don't always see that in those national elections.
Steve, I'll let you run after this question and continue to dominate with the live stream. Rumble loves you. I love you. You've been a good friend to me. Georgia right now does not look good for Kamala Harris. Now, again, it depends on what portion of the state. There could be some urban vote. There could be some rural. We don't really know, but 55% of the vote is, so we have a good sample size. Donald Trump is, at this point, is up pretty handily in Georgia. This doesn't look good, again, for Kamala Harris. What's your team telling you about Georgia? Because like I said, if Pennsylvania, Georgia, North Carolina
go our way handily. There's just no math for her.
Well, there's math for her if she wins Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. But, it's certainly a good start. And that's why we thought if we look at the East Coast, we're looking for some other indicators like in Virginia, like in New Hampshire to see where that margin is. But actually, Gerald,
I agree with that. That's why I said earlier about Pennsylvania. She needs Pennsylvania big time.
You asked that. I asked for a trend in Georgia right now just so we could see it. So 48% statewide counted. DeKalb is not reported yet. But Trump, of the last dump in the last hour, he's received 57.2% of the vote. So going forward on these, as these dumps come in, that number that he needs to win is going down. So 46% of the outstanding vote is all he needs to win in Georgia right now. So that's something that we will track over time. It is heading down. It was 47.7%. Now it's 46%. So as these dumps come in, Trump is getting a large share, and it's cutting the number he needs of whatever's remaining to actually be able to win. So the trend is good in Georgia right now.
Yes, and we're providing right now. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. This is from all the acidic vomit the last 2 days. No joke. Where I was worried about my vocal cords
the acidic wine.
keeping up.
It's different.
We actually have an exclusive graph that we're providing to the audience so they can see what percentage of the remaining dumps Donald Trump knows, so they can see that go down in real time. And like you said, it's a very good trend for Donald Trump. It's not a deadlock. But if you look at Georgia and you look at North Carolina, if he wins those, and of course Florida was called very early, and you look at the margins in some of those eastern states, he doesn't have to win them. For example, like in a place like New York, I think he only needs to be within 16. I think only losing it by 16, and that would put him really with the last Republican to win. I believe it was George H.W. Bush in 1988 who came that close in New York. So we're looking at some of these numbers. I think you're right. Hopefully we just helped undergird, not your gut feeling in some of the numbers, but we have guys getting they're nerds back there, Dan. They're real nerds.
Steve, listen, man. Again, I'll let you roll, but what I'm feeling right now, and what I want to say, I'm kind of holding inside because I don't want to get out ahead of myself. But in 2016, Dan Horowitz over at Conservative Review. Do you know Dan at all? Yeah, he has his own podcast. But well, Dan and I, we kind of got into it. I mean, friendly. It's not like we were doing jiu-jitsu or anything, but we kind of got into it a little bit because I was running in 2016 for Congress and I was knocking on doors. And I saw it. I saw like all these people with yard signs who weren't on my knock
Polly
list.
Marquez, Trump down
and they
to
were like, "Oh yeah, I never
now.
vote. That's why I'm not on your knock list. I'm just voting for Trump." And I said, "Man, this guy's gonna win." And I had that feeling. I'm sensing it this time too. I mean, the Big Mo. I don't know what the hell you call it, but you just know, like in a fight, anything from like jiu-jitsu to somewhere else, when the momentum's on your side, you can feel it.
Yeah.
And I want to be Trump right now. I sure as hell don't want to be Kamala.
No, I think that's a good read. And, if you guys want to look at some of these details, it's free for anyone. The electionintegritymap.com. You can check it out where we're providing data that they're not providing in a lot of these other places. So your gut is right, and the numbers that you have are reflected when you get even deeper into the numbers. So you're not wrong, but what you're feeling is probably a result of the blue chews. So let's keep that to a minimum.
Steve, we love you, man. At Rumble, you're amazing. So really, you guys have been an absolute champion for freedom of speech. We're so glad to have you. Rumble Premium Mug Club moved over. It's awesome. Thanks, brother. We really appreciate it. Gerald, send me another.
Shout out to Rumble, guys. You guys already know we're Team Rumble over here too, man. Why do you guys think I got this thing on, man? Shout out to Rumble.
Go.
Their website is crashing. Holy shit.
I'm not lying. I forgot to take into account the throwing up and how that affects your vocal cords. What?
You want to celebrate now?
Why do we have another state to call?
That's the biggest. Yes, we have a state to call, but over 556,000 live concurrent. That breaks a record. We have never done anything that big, guys.
Are we sure?
We're just getting started. We are sure.
Okay.
It's early.
We are sure, baby. 2020.
It is
we just beat 2020.
All right.
They're the biggest stream right now politically. Shout out to them, bro. Right, they're the biggest one on live.
I want to bring in Lane the Brain with some of those graphs so we can show them what it is, because we haven't shown that yet. And by the way, you still have Dan's feed up there, so you guys might want to close it because I'm still watching him. So we can bring, I would assume, sorry, I know we haven't done a commercial break yet. We've been going for what?
We've been going
2.5 hours?
Yeah.
2.5 hours? Go ahead, Nick. And by the way, as you go out, let me plug your Ottumwa, Iowa.
This Saturday night.
This Saturday. Ottumwa, Iowa, the Bridgeview Center Theater. And look, Donald Trump Jr. told you, Dan Bongino will tell you, OG, funniest man alive. If you want your side, okay, this is the greatest endorsement I could give him. I would not chance going to see him live.
All right. Someone asked. Someone asked about immigrants, farm labor. Oh yeah, I answered that question before. Final tour, will we be on an emergency meeting? We'll see. Okay, Dan Aminia says the mainstream media and influencers are shameless sellouts, IO slaves. They're not for America first. Facts. Ronnie says, yo, Martin, what's your take on the bomb threats at the Georgia polls, them saying it came from Russia? Typical Russia disinformation, bro. They always, bro. Okay, here's another red pill for you guys. Okay, I'm going to say this in a certain way because we're on YouTube. The reason why, and I want you guys to listen up very closely, the American media demonizes Putin a lot, but no one ever talks about why. One of the main things that Putin did when he came into power, one of the first things he did actually, was get rid of oligarchs from a certain state, if you guys know what I'm saying. Jailed them or kicked them the fuck out. Ever since then, there's been almost always bad press with Putin. That's the real red pill that most people are not going to tell you. He jailed one of the most rich and wealthy oligarchs in Russia and kicked his ass out. And that's why you have Ukraine being fucked up like it is right now, because it's run by oligarchs. So Putin is based when it comes to that shit. Yeah, I know, chat.
They came from a RU email address, but added that doesn't necessarily mean that they came from Russia. Federal and state authorities have indicated that these are not credible. By the way, people say it's Russia, but what they don't realize is that, like, you use RU email addresses in this situation because it's, like, non-traceable. Obviously, if it was a fucking federal crime that you were engaging in with an American email address, you could subpoena an American fucking, you could subpoena Google to track it down, and then the person would go to jail. So it's like, they're using it for illegal shit. This doesn't mean that it's like fucking KGB or FSB or whatever the fuck. It just means that, like, whoever's doing this, all these trolls that are doing this are using an RU email address.
Yeah, and this is common with them doing this. By the way, this is the guy that he arrested, guys, right? When he came into power, Mikhail Borisovich Khodorsky, one of the oligarchs that he kicked out. And you guys already know what you're going to see when you go to early life. But this is one of the guys, right? 16th on the Forbes list of billionaires. He worked up to the Commissar Apparatus, blah, blah, blah. He got arrested, for embezzlement and money laundering. Putin led the charge against this guy. Just one of many.
Yeah. Good. I mean, okay, sure. NBC News exit poll. Majority of Texas voters think abortion should be legal. Okay. Legal in most cases at 38%. Legal in all cases at 26%.
And he's a nationalist, which is like a bad word in America nowadays. Being a nationalist is actually good, guys. You care about your country. You put your country's interests first. It's like a dirty word in American society nowadays, which is absolutely ridiculous.
So,
all right, let's see what these guys got to say.
% in, still very heavily for Kamala Harris, but doesn't mean anything because we're looking at Harrisburg and Pittsburgh.
What's Philly look like?
Philly's blue.
Yeah, but how much is it?
15% in, and Philly and Delaware County are very blue.
What's the percentage of 15% in?
What's the
because
percentage?
yeah, because
11% in Bucks, and Bucks is 2-1 Kamala Harris.
Philly went 85% for Biden, and I'm thinking that it's going to go 75% or less.
Philadelphia is the worst city in fucking America. Changed my mind. One of the worst cities.
50% chance that Trump wins this one, says Decision Desk. Let's just Decision Desk. Do me a favor. Can you, if you're watching, just keep it there and just stop moving.
No, they're gonna put it back to 61, dude. Get ready for the curves, baby. They want to make it exciting
go
for
down,
everybody.
Come back up.
They like that. They're getting a lot of traffic because of this stuff.
Poly Market has Trump at 71.2.
Wow.
Look at this, $1.3 billion wagered on Donald Trump to win right now.
Oh,
is there a live chart of all the betting markets?
I don't know about. There's probably. I don't know it.
Kalshi was doing that, like everybody's, as their money's coming in, about who's spending on which candidate.
But all the different betting markets.
Yeah, like all of the markets? No, I don't know.
Has the inauguration map changed at all since the last time you guys looked at that one? Because that's the
women talking.
This is last one.
Yeah, but
This
he's
is it.
old too. So
That's what I'm saying. It's his last one.
Yeah, he's like gonna die anyways.
Damn. You're gonna die anyways.
Yeah,
Thank
so
God.
You motherfucker, you're gonna hit back.
I'm gonna live forever.
You're gonna be like,
Yeah, I think all these guys are left wing here. Let's see.
I'm gonna wake the fuck up like Jesus.
no, you.
You wouldn't know anything about that, would you, Dan?
Yeah, because I killed that motherfucker, just like I'll kill you.
I'm coming back.
Who are these people?
And the first person we're coming for is definitely the J-Boys. What do you feel about that?
J-Boys. Tried it the first time, didn't work so well. What makes you think it's different this time?
Well, I might not get all of them, but we'll get you.
That's what they said the first time.
You weren't alive.
That's what you think. That's what you have.
That is what I think. You're right.
You don't know that. I was there, man. I was there when we fucking stabbed that fucking staff through that motherfucker.
The staff? What are you talking about?
You know, the...
Patches has donated $50.
Hold on.
We once ran peaceful races with unintelligently educated beings. But then came the gore. Tiki torches and identify asterisk low hung horse.
Ah, yes, asterisk. I already knew this was coming. Why?
Check that out. Yeah.
Hyman Slayer says, am I a joke to you? Okay.
Annoying. Imagine wearing this unironically.
You look great. Is it too heavy for you?
It's like, hey guys, check me out. I can't afford gold. What's up? I'm doing my best here.
We know you can. Don't feel bad. We know you can.
Does anyone wear platinum?
Yeah, these niggas
Probably
are just
not,
yapping.
because
What the fuck? Let's go back.
And obviously, yes, I think he and I we're on different ends of the political spectrum, believe a lot of different things, but I do believe that you can catch a lot more bees with honey than you can vinegar. And I did see that post. I think it was Vivek Ramaswamy talking about it, and everybody's like, yeah, throw him in jail and do this and do that. And I'm like, yes, there should be a little bit of accountability, right? But also, a guy like Zuck has a very, very heavy hand. A guy like Zuck has a lot of influence.
Fuck Zuck.
I just think Zuck started training. That testosterone started going through the roof. He realized what being
By the way, this is a very important point, just so you guys know.
He
Go ahead.
realized what being a sovereign individual means. You don't know how not sovereign you are until you stand in front of a man and he beats the crap out of you, and then you pick yourself back up and you do it again. Or you get choked out and then you got to get up and do it again. And I think that's why, you know, I'm sure Jorge gets it.
Bro, that's fucking bullshit. You're telling me that Zuck got punched in the face a few times and fucking decided to vote Republican? Come on, man. Terrible take. Terrible take, bro.
Nobody can help us. Nobody can save us. So it's just, I think it's a different mentality. And
Dude, Zuck has been training MMA and fighting sports for years, bro. Like, he didn't get just punched in the face or put into jiu-jitsu holds and decided to vote right, bro. No, he's smart enough to know that there's a high likelihood Trump is going to come into office and he needs to go ahead and get in his good graces right now. That's the fucking truth, bro. See, that's what I'm trying to tell y'all, bro. Like, I'm going to give it to you guys fucking straight. I'll fucking criticize the Zios. I'll criticize the tech companies. Like, fuck that shit. That's a lie. That's a fucking lie. Zuck doesn't give a fuck about free speech. He's saying that now because he understands that that's cool. He saw Elon Musk's success. He's like, damn, I got to get on board. Facebook is fucking dying. Meta is dying. If it wasn't for Instagram, Meta would be out of fucking business right now. And you guys can take that to the fucking bank. If it wasn't for Meta acquiring Instagram, they would be out of fucking business. No one uses Facebook anymore, dude. Nobody. It's now 2008. Instagram is what's keeping them afloat. And he understands that, and he knows that censorship is not fucking cool. And he knows that he sees that censorship backfires. He looks at what's going on with the mainstream media. He's looking at some of these platforms that are pro-censorship, and they're fucking dying. So he understands I need to go ahead and get on the train now. And there's also a high likelihood that Trump's going to become president. That's why he came out with the stupid letter admitting that he caved into the government with the vaccine mandates. It's self-preservation. He doesn't give a fuck about actually being right-wing and being, exercising sovereignty and free speech and anti-censorship. He don't give a fuck about that, man. He's a typical big tech Zio shill that the bottom line is to make money. Get out of here with that, bro. Zuck is a fucking, all these tech guys.
Marcus for the last, babe, how long has he been with How long has Tico been with Sean? 2 months? When did I ask you, Mike? Was it about a couple months ago?
Yeah, probably 2 months ago.
You have to see what's happened to this kid. The level of intensity, him training every day for an hour, hour and a half with these guys, kicking, boxing. What impact do you think your community fighters can have on a guy like Zuckerberg?
Well, I haven't got a chance to meet him yet, but if I meet him, the first thing I'm going to tell him is, get me off the gulag. Since 2020, they got me shadow banned heavy, man. Unmonetized, they don't let me make no money.
Yeah, and they took my fucking Instagram down and my Facebook, bro. And I don't know if that came from Meta or a hacker, but either way, like, Facebook is fucked, man.
Anybody that ever trains, you get this self-confidence. You know, whether you win or lose, you kind of like walk into a room and you don't feel you have an ego as much, you know, and I think that definitely helps. And like Mike was saying, once you get your butt kicked a couple times, you know, it really makes you humble and it makes you see life a different way. All that money that you have really doesn't mean nothing in the bank when someone's on top of your face punching your teeth in, you know. So I think him training has just brought that side of him, you know. And also I think how rapidly the country was deteriorating was probably the big.
Nah, man. It's not how rapidly. He understands that freedom of speech is going to be the new thing in social media. People are tired of the fucking censorship, bro.
On reruns on TBS.
That's right. And they, what the hell?
Do you think that's got to be like their? Oh, you got to take the label off. Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Huh?
Oh my gosh. And by the way, while we're talking about Pennsylvania, this is where the firewall, like we said, you're seeing that right there. The early votes was 409,000, but that's 91,000 short of what the Democrats needed.
Correct.
So that was entirely expected, and it's still short of what Democrats.
Chat, what do y'all want to see? Spam the chats. What you got? Whose stream you guys want to watch?
Kamala to get 700,000 votes from Philadelphia County.
Right.
Which would be about 100,000 more than Joe Biden actually won.
Right.
So things are not, again, I don't want to pop any champagne. You don't do that. But if you were looking for good trends, they're there. So.
Yeah. Well, you know what else I really like? And this is no small thing. The fact that you said Kamala, I don't give a shit. The fact that you just said that on a stream that is many, many times bigger than CNN or legacy media is great, because there they say that's a racist trope.
Of course.
But the truth is,
I just don't know because I don't care.
I know exactly.
Yeah.
I go back and forth. Kamala, I don't care because she's a bitch.
How about come state? How's that sound?
Yeah, come on now. Come on now.
If she was
the biggest election stream of the century.
If she was full Indian, I might be slow.
And that's true. They're killing mainstream media right now. People are tired of the fucking censorship, bro.
Does that extend to Indians for you?
I want to watch.
He likes the Asian ladies.
Yeah, generally.
Which, by the way, is the least creepy preference ever. I don't know if you know this, but a lot of the guys like the Asian ladies. Now, if you're a woman who likes Asian men, that's weird.
I don't think Asian broads.
Again, I have a lot of Korean friends, so I'm going to abstain.
Okay, you can abstain from. Is there anything else that we need to know?
No, but we'll be watching all the swing states, and we can come back in and give you.
Oh, you guys said slightly offensive? I'm actually going to call into that show, I think, at around 9:30, guys. I'm going to call in. To slightly offensive.
Researchers here. You have Georgia Greek. You do have, I mean, I begrudgingly Sam from HR.
And then I think I'm going to do something with Andrew as well, with the Tates. I'm talking with him right now, figuring that out.
Now, Stephen, you have
technical issues right now, but we'll wake this up.
Yes. There's always some kind of factoid about the Holocaust. But, you know, I get it. It was a big deal to them. A bad one.
Lane looks like somebody who was working in the Holocaust.
Oh, yeah.
On the wrong side.
Yes, he absolutely does.
He looks like every fucking army guy.
Yes. He looks like the page
list.
He looks like the page master version of Hitler Youth. Like
Doesn't he?
Walked back in, or like that "Take on Me" video. Take on me. It was just Hitler Youth, and it's just Lane.
Lane's just about to do some meth and charge a city.
Yes, exactly. Well, don't forget the morphine, meth, morphine. What was I saying before that?
You like working?
Well, you're very cautiously optimistic. We really do try and call balls and strikes. Now, we let people know when it's our opinion. For example, our opinion, the country is going to be in serious decline for a period of time if Kamala Harris wins. We all agree on that. What is not a matter of opinion is what the numbers look like. Before we started tonight, and I've said this since the beginning, 65, 35, I've always thought, Donald Trump, but by no means is it a lock.
I'm looking
Today,
through what you guys are asking me to show
optimistic.
here.
Correct.
Do you feel better based on where we are right now than when we started?
I do. I just want to see numbers come in out of places like Atlanta, Detroit, and Philadelphia before I start getting too optimistic, because we've seen how that can really rain on a parade really quickly.
Yes.
That's where all the cheating goes on.
Yeah.
Yep. That's exactly right.
That was what I was inferring,
Yeah, exactly. What's
Sorry,
okay.
I wasn't paying attention.
Hey, by the way,
staring at your chest.
You can bet. On Polymarket, if this stream will be taken down from YouTube, and if you're watching on YouTube, you should head on over to Rumble anyway.
So a real quick interesting thing before I get out of here on the Polymarket stuff.
Oh, I thought it was going to be about your buys and tries routine, but yes.
Well, I'll write that down next time I come in. Is the chance for Trump to win the popular vote on Polymarket is actually increasing too, which is
Really?
So I don't know if we have that.
We can check in after Russell Brand. We've got Russell in like 1 minute, and we'll check in with that afterwards.
Perfect.
Do the Polymarket check-in.
Do we have? So we can't take a break before Russell.
You're stuck in that chair, and you.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying because my voice is clear. Well, let's. Okay. So Lane, we thank you very much for the update, and you can just call in. Okay. So Lane, we thank you very much for the update, and you can call in from.
I see some of you guys saying Nick. If I do Nick, I'm gonna have to get off YouTube, guys, which is fine. If I do Nick or Tay, I'll probably get off YouTube and just go straight to Rumble. If I do that, so I'm on YouTube right now. But if I do go over there, which might happen, I'll get off YouTube.
Fine.
Yeah, no kidding.
Hey, what's Lane's last name? Is it German?
I don't think we want to reveal that, but
the brain.
Why don't you do this? Why don't you take a quick step out so that we don't have Russell on yet? Why don't you step out for just a second, but not a long break, but a quick break. We're not going to go anywhere. I'm going to talk about some other stuff while you're gone, and you can come back.
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Can I take 2 minutes?
You take 2 minutes.
2 minutes. I have to change shirts.
You know what?
I got to eat some saltines.
A minute and 45
because I've been really wanting to eat some saltines because I haven't eaten anything today, and if I don't eat some saltines, I really feel like this is going to go.
All right, let's see what's going on here.
You guys noticing what he just said? So in 2020, the race, 49.5, 49.3. Right now, Trump's got an 11%. But Tom, let me ask you this. What hasn't been calculated that maybe is majority Democratic county that's going to go the other way? Is there anything that's majority left, or is it pretty much 50-50?
Well, yeah, there are the other side of Atlanta. There's Fulton County and DeKalb County. And so there's urban areas there, but there's a lot.
Bro, Trump got Georgia. Trump got Georgia. That's not even, I don't even think this is a dispute anymore.
Right now, but right now the probability for Georgia, 85% probability right now.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, I didn't even have to, bro. Yeah, 100%. He got. I knew he had Georgia like 30 minutes ago.
82% chance he'll win Georgia.
But this isn't good. Kamala's looking good in Pennsylvania, which isn't good for us, guys. Just so y'all know.
What's going on right now in Bucks County? So we can see that. Can you guys hear me?
Now we can.
All right.
Amy, just keep the mic a little closer.
A little closer. Okay, so.
Yeah, we're gonna. It looks like we're losing Pennsylvania, guys.
Type margins that we have right now. But let's go ahead and compare to what happened during the last election cycles. We can see that in 2020, Joe Biden was up ahead by about, 4 points? And we can see that as of right now, Kamala Harris is up ahead by quite a significant margin there. 11% of these votes have been reported so far, so still a long way to go here, guys. Still a long way to go. All right. So now moving down a little bit further, Harris is still taking a slight lead against Trump there. Compared to where it was in the 2020 election, we can see it's pretty similar numbers. And then likewise, when we move over to the next county, but overall, guys, it is looking more promising than it was during the 2020 election. Still a long way to go, though. All right. All right, so now we have some pretty exciting news when it comes to Texas. When it comes to Texas, yes, it looks like Trump is going to win by a pretty impressive margin. We saw some counties come in. Dallas County, the votes were counted nice and early. We can see that Trump is up by 52.4%. And when we compare that to the previous election.
Yeah, I'm not surprised he's taken Texas.
Back then. So
Tom, what was that?
This is half of Dallas and Fort Worth. So these are the more urban areas, which more typically lean Democrat, of course.
Got it.
But we can see that this time around, he's actually up ahead.
Got it. Tom, can you go to Bucks County? Would you mind going to Bucks County to see what it looks like?
All right, I see. I'm reading some of the chats here. Hit the Tate stream iron. All right, I will, guys. I'm coordinating right now with their people. They're going to send me a link to join in. So I'm going to be joining in with the Tates here very soon, guys. So we're cooking tonight. Myron, can you hit some X accounts about the election? Richard B. Harris has been correct since 2016. He gets no credit because he's not mainstream X. Username is People's Pundit. Check that nigga out. Okay, Richard Barris, never heard of him. Facts, Philly suck, a whole bunch of retards live there. Absolutely, bro. It's one of the worst cities in America. One of the worst cities in America by far.
1.2%. Incredible. When we compare that to 2020, we can see pretty similar margins there, actually, but he's certainly up ahead right now.
All right,
And we are
so
calling
I
this
just got the
state.
link to join in. I'm going to take a quick piss, guys, and then we're going to jump in on the tape stream.
2020 Trump
I might
won
have to end
Ohio,
YouTube stream chat. Give me 1
Or
second.
was it as of this
I
time?
got really pissed bad.
Tom, question for you. Did Trump win Ohio 2020?
Yes.
He did.
He
Okay.
certainly did, yes. So
Got
this
it.
is,
So
yeah.
53-45.
Mm-hmm. And so, guys, in about 10 minutes, there's going to be a lot of other polls closing, so we'll have a lot more data at that point.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Guys, make some noise for Dave Smith. Dave, wherever you are, work your way up to the stage.
Dave Smith.
Where is Dave at?
He's right behind you, Pat.
My man. Good seeing you, buddy. Very good to see you. So, Dave, we're coming right at you. If we can hand over a mic to Dave. Who loves Dave Smith, by the way? Anybody loves Dave Smith? I love it. So do we. Very smart. Dave, what's
Hello,
your
sir.
position? Are you skeptical? Are you optimistic? Are you pessimistic? Where are you at?
I am very confident that the winner of the 2024 election will be Israel. No, I'm sorry.
That's
I'm sorry. That
facts.
was my internal.
That's actually facts. It will be fucking Israel.
Man, it's such a weird election because, and I
That's
bet you guys
facts.
feel this way too, right? Everything that you can observe with your senses, everything you can see, touch, taste, feel, tells you Donald Trump is running away with this thing. But
look at them murmuring in the background because they didn't like his comment about fucking Israel.
enemies are the most powerful entrenched interests in the history of the world, and they got tricks up their sleeves like none of us can imagine. So I wouldn't take anything for granted. It seems Pennsylvania is the big one, man. That's what it's going to come down to. If he can win Pennsylvania, I think he wins this thing.
Say that again. If he
wins Pennsylvania, I think Donald Trump is president again.
Okay, so Dave, you guys had a libertarian convention, right? Which Trump attended.
Yes.
Okay. Libertarians, majority of libertarians, some of them are going to vote libertarian, some of them are going to go for Trump. Yourself, you're a candidate that a lot of people want to see you run for president. We've talked about this multiple times, where when I talk to people that want to see you run as a candidate for libertarians, whoever's running today, everybody forgot his name. I'm not being disrespectful. Nobody remembers his name. They're kind of hoping for you to run. How many libertarians in this 2024 election gave up their libertarian vote and gave it to Trump?
Okay, so there are, broadly speaking, there are people who identify as libertarian, and then there are people who are members of the Libertarian Party. In terms of like libertarians in America, I think the overwhelming majority voted for Donald Trump.
Overwhelmingly.
And I would say
All right, I'm gonna jump in there right now.
Libertarian Party
So, guys, we are
members,
going to end
even
the
a huge
YouTube
chunk of
stream.
them
We're gonna
voted
jump
for
on
Trump.
So,
with
by the way,
Tape Bros.
for you, like what area, if you were to say right now, between Kamala and Trump, you'll be critical with anybody and everybody, right? What
So,
area of
get
Trump's
ready,
campaign
I'm
are you
gonna switch
critical
soon
with? Where you're
here.
like, this is the area that I'm not comfortable with, and did you end up voting for Trump?
Well, I'll answer the second one first. Yes, I did. I ended up voting for him. But listen, don't even clap for me. I had no choice.
this
He's
up
running
real quick.
against some hoe. What was I going to do? But listen, all right, I'm sorry. I'm coming out a
The
little bit
ludicrous
loose,
in you
but
came out, but
listen, Kamala Harris is, and I'm not just saying this because it's election night, and I know this will be like the crowd will like it, but she is the worst candidate I've ever seen run for major office in any party. It's insane. Like, if I just put it, forget even how you feel about it. If I just put it down on paper for you, and I was like, okay, listen,
Bear with
there's
me,
a
guys.
candidate, and she's the nominee for the Democrats. And you'd go like, well, how did she win the primary? And I go, no, she didn't win a primary. She ran a presidential campaign 4 years ago and did so bad that she didn't make it to Iowa. She did worse than Pete Buttigieg. Yeah, you remember the 5-foot gay guy? She lost to him, okay? Not only did she's walked away from everything she was running on for president in 2020. She's not running on any of that anymore. She's also not running on her legacy as vice president, and she has no reason for why. Her answer to everything is that she grew up in a middle-class family, which is not special. I grew up in a middle-class family. I shouldn't be fucking president because of that. Like, she is... Look, a vote for Kamala Harris is just a vote for the machine. And
yep, all neocons backing her. I said this earlier.
I've got a lot of criticisms of his first administration. I got a lot of criticisms of the campaign he's run this year. But he does exist. He is a real person, and we will have a president if he's the president. And if she's the president, we have what we have right now, which is no president, and the machine gets whatever it wants. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but the machine is the military-industrial complex. That's what you're voting for if you vote for Kamala Harris. And so, fuck that.
But you're also voting for a machine that doesn't represent you, doesn't hear you. You know, you get the feeling under this administration that complaining, it's almost like when you call Avis or a huge company. You're not getting anybody on the phone. And I think that the biggest threat is the fact that nobody actually feels represented. And she does. At least when Trump got shot and he said, fight, 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 you saw leadership. Now, he is flawed. There's all kinds of things. But at least you saw leadership, a coherent foreign policy, a coherent, at least when you say, I favor lowering regulations, that's coherent. That's an economic plan I can kind of follow. I still don't know what she stands for. And I get the feeling, and I think most people get the feeling, that her handler said, all you have to say is you're not Trump. All you have to say is that he's a fascist.
Bear with me, Chad. I'm figuring this out to make sure I can stay here to jump on with the Tates.
Stand because you don't really know where you stand. And I think that's what most people feel like. She's not a leader. She's just a mouthpiece for the machine, like you were saying.
But by the way,
if I could say something.
After you say that, I want to come back to the three of you with a question to see what you say on that. But go ahead.
I want to tell you, look, Americans that are of minorities are the only people in the world that think that people that look like you actually give a shit about you. You've never left the outside world. The dynasty that did the biggest genocide was the Mao dynasty. Guess what? He looked like them. The people that Maduro and Chavez and Venezuela that ruined that country, guess what? He looks like them. The one that ruined Cuba, guess what? He looks like them. Stop thinking that because somebody's a female and they're black, they represent you. If you've obviously never seen the history of the world. Everybody that looks like you, who killed Cain? Abel, his brother. Who sold Joseph? His 12 brothers. Like, do you not understand that? The people that are going to screw you over the fastest actually look like you? They don't look like other people? Like, what part of that are you missing? It's crazy to me to sit in front of a goddamn TV and think, oh, they're black, oh, they're Mexican, oh, they're female, oh, they're Hispanic. They must have my best interest. Dude, you are a goddamn... That's what you think. It's about you. And you got to understand that. And the faster you realize that, you start voting for people that have your best interest, not to share your skin tonality. By the way, Pat, who ruined Iran?
Who what?
Who ruined Iran? Iran. Who ruined Iran? Iran.
Who ruined Iran?
Yeah. Was he black? Was he Mexican? Or was he Iranian? The one that ruined Iran.
Maybe I can't hear what he's asking.
Civil War.
Who ruined Iran?
Who ruined Iran?
Yeah.
Who is it?
I don't know. Was it a Mexican guy, a black guy? Was it a white? Who was it?
No. We're not dealing with no Mexican or black guy. Who are you talking about?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
because he looked like you guys, so I'm assuming he had your best interest at heart.
I mean, listen. Kamala Harris is black. That's a part you got to read. If you're making a comment like that, you're offending a very big community in America. But I got a question for you, Dave. Here's a question for you. and you as well, Brian, and anybody else wants to comment on this. You said military-industrial.
Chat, I'm figuring out how I'm going to get in there so that you guys can still see the stream and see everything going on. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm coordinating with Tate's people. So let me try to figure this shit out real quick. Because this website, Stage 10, is what I'm using. I'm trying to figure out if I should do it via screen share or how I should go in there. Because it won't let me go under camera and mic. You know, maybe let me fucking call Bills. Let me call Bills. Bill's the tech guy. Shout out to Bills. I'm going to join in there in a second. Just bear with me, chat. Because I want to make sure I could get in so you guys can see everything. You know what I mean? Yo, Bills.
Talk to me.
Hey, bro. Question. I'm trying to join in. I think Tate and Nick are on. They sent me an invite. But I see I'm using the Stage 10 software, bro. And there's a couple different options to join. Camera, mic, screen share, RTMP. How should I go about that? Here, I'll let you guys listen to the stream while I talk to Bills, by the way.
Couldn't imagine anybody who was involved in the Ukraine war effort would try to assassinate Donald Trump. Oh, wait. That's exactly who did. By the way, do you know, guys, you know that Donald Trump's second assassination attempt, okay? Do you know that that guy was a convicted felon who was convicted for possession of weapons of mass destruction? You can't make this shit up. And he then went to join the Ukrainian war effort and came back to America, and this raised no red flags. Like, dude, you can't have a goddamn parking ticket and get on an international flight without something going off. And by the way, the entire corporate media has had no interest in looking into any of these stories. Nobody is even asking, was he connected to intelligence? What was this guy's background? The first assassination attempt, the one that shot him in the ear, the official story is that they couldn't get into any of his phones and he had no social media footprint. Does anybody in this room believe that there would be a young person who was so politically radicalized that they would try to assassinate a president and they weren't on social media? What are the odds of that? 0? So all I'm saying is that, yeah, like, this is what Medvedev is saying is just obvious. Look, JFK was a threat to the military-industrial complex, and he took a limo ride through Dallas. Nixon was somewhat of a threat to the military-industrial complex, and he was totally set up and removed with Watergate. Donald Trump represents the third great American coup. They framed him for treason for 4 years. The entire corporate media, they actually think you're so fucking stupid that you would believe that Donald Trump was a Russian spy. The most famous person in the world was working for Putin this whole time? Like, how stupid is that? And there's no evidence to back it up. But so, are you saying, listen, they would frame the guy for treason, the sitting president of the United States. They would impeach him twice over nonsense. They tried to lock him up over all just bullshit. And they've already tried to assassinate him multiple times. So of course
Vance
they
is not radical at all.
Their
People think
only
he is, but he's not.
calculation is
he
whether
married
it's
someone who's
worse
not
for
white.
them to do
You
it
could argue,
or not. And if they thought they could get away with it, they would have done it already by now.
If they thought they could get away with it, they would have done a long time ago. Brian,
these people are killers, Pat. They'll kill for money.
I totally agree, and I now know when you look at the resources that Russia has, the #1 natural resources as a country in the world, $75 trillion. They're trying to get through to find a way to get rid of him so they can get in there, start finding a way to make the money. I understand that part. My question is this. Trump has said during the time of him being president-elect, he's going to...
All right, chat. I think I got this figured out with Bills. But see here, bro, my camera's not coming in. So if you look at this thing with these guys...
The stream's not coming in there?
Oh, I think I am in. Okay, I can see myself now.
Latency. I think there's a latency. So what I think you should do is fuck that. Do the camera, do the manual camera, and then screen share it.
Okay, so should I leave this thing right now?
Yeah, leave that. Turn off the. Tell them that you're gonna come back because there's a latency. You
Okay.
won't be able to hear them and respond in time.
All right. Gotcha. All right, be back.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you. So I'm gonna come back right now. So let me X this thing out.
Yeah, just turn off the.
Let me go back and turn this on for the chat so they can see.
Gonna finish.
Cloak and dagger stuff. I think when the left
So bear with me, chat. I
comes up
appreciate
with
you guys
this
being patient. I'm gonna trust me. This is gonna be fire. It's gonna be worth the wait, guys.
narrative that if he
All right,
gets
let me
elected, we'll never vote again. If he gets
mute
elected,
myself.
it'll be the end of our democracy. There are enough cuckoo birds out there that are terrified enough to do something drastic. We know that we have a lot of people that are not stable. So that's a pretty interesting way and pretty good way to get somebody to take a shot on him. Finally, I think I'll make a prediction. I think Trump will. It's very possible that Trump will say, "Hey, Putin, let's make a deal." And if the Russians balk, it's very possible that he will give Ukraine the kind of weapons that the Russians cannot afford to fight. It's going to cost the Russians a whole lot of material, money, and personnel. And he'll just keep upping the ante and go, "You want to make a deal now? How about now? How about now?" That's my prediction. I think he's got. People forget how significant the Abraham Accords were. They forget that this guy actually created an alliance and is responsible, probably indirectly, to an alliance between Saudi Arabia and Israel. Nobody else has been able to do that. The guy gets stuff done. So that's my take on that.
Dave, do you have final thoughts on this before we transition away from this story?
Well, look, I mean, if anybody has looked into the history of the Ukrainian-Russian conflict at all, I'll just say this. Vladimir Putin has wanted to make a deal the whole time. The whole time. What's his name? I always butcher his name. He's like Norwegian or something, but the head of NATO, Stoltenberg or something like that, he said, in his own words, he said that Vladimir Putin told NATO that if you just put it in writing that Ukraine will never join NATO, he won't invade. And he bragged about how he said, "No, we won't be bullied around by Vladimir Putin." So we said, "Screw you, we won't put it in writing." And then Vladimir Putin invaded. Okay? What the entire war in Ukraine is about, and I think far too few people in America actually know this, what the entire war is about is that the Russians have determined that it is their red line that Ukraine cannot be a part of NATO. Now, I know in our American head, you might hear that and go, "Hey, they should never get to tell us what we're allowed to do," or something like that. But all I'm saying is think about it like this. Can Mexico join China's military alliance? Fuck no, they can't. There's no way we'd allow that to happen. When the communists tried to put nuclear weapons in Cuba, Jack Kennedy said he will blow up the world if they do that. Because, sorry, that was our red line. We cannot have your weaponry in Cuba a few miles off of our coast. We're taking that as a preemptive nuclear attack. And he meant it. And then he got on the phone and he made a deal, and we pulled our missiles back from Turkey, and they pulled their missiles back from Cuba, and we went on. This was Vladimir Putin's point. You can't have your military alliance in our biggest, most strategically
All right, chat, we're gonna go to Rumble here in a second.
Now, I'm sorry.
I think I'm gonna go to Rumble.
Reasonable.
So
that's a reasonable request.
Firefox.
And that doesn't mean that you love Vladimir Putin or that you're sworn loyal to him.
Chat.
To just say,
chat, can you guys hear me?
Why the hell are we even expanding our military alliance to Ukraine?
Hold on one second.
And listen, Donald Trump, he always says that war never would have happened if I was president.
Yo, chat, can you guys hear me?
I would negotiate an end to this. And I got to say, I think he's right about that. I don't think the war would have happened if he was president. I think he will negotiate an end to it.
Give me ones if y'all can hear me.
I don't think he's right that Hamas wouldn't have attacked Israel if he was president. That seems kind of ridiculous to me.
All right, y'all can hear me?
But he's right.
All right, guys, time to switch over to Rumble. Everyone come to Rumble. Everyone come to Rumble right now. Rumble.com/freshfit. I'm going to go jump on with the Tates and Nick. All right? Come on over to Rumble. I'm going to end the YouTube stream now. I'm going to be live on X and Rumble only. So we can say what the fuck we want to say. All right, ninjas? We about to get based in this bitch. I'm ending all the other ones right now. Come on over. Rumble only, and let me drop the link for you guys real quick for Rumble. Hold on one second. Rumble link is here. Rumble link is here. Can somebody pin that for me, please? Pin that for me, or one of the mods. Join in, guys. We going to Rumble, chat. It's time to fucking Rumble. Let's go. Drop the link in here.